Criminal and Civil Procedures Module. There are 9 lessons with their corresponding desired objectives to be achieved by participants within this module. At the end of these short lessons, participants should be familiar with the basic factual information applicable to criminal and civil procedures in the United States as well as the state of Ohio. Of course, we have to have a disclaimer, right? All the information provided in these short lessons is publicly available and provides a simplified view of criminal and civil procedures in the state of Ohio for participants to gain a basic understanding. Remember, procedures vary across jurisdictions, so it is important to always check the steps in the process in the jurisdiction you are working. This information is not intended to be construed as legal advice. Participants will also be able to identify key concepts along with their corresponding legal terminology and know how to use them appropriately. Participants will also be provided resources to complete the individual assignments and are encouraged to use the same to build personal glossaries by incorporating the legal terminology used in these lessons so they can interpret them correctly and use them appropriately into their working languages. Lesson 5. A brief overview to identify some of the most common criminal charges in Ohio according to Title 29 of the Ohio Revised Code. The objective here is for participants to be able to identify some of the most common criminal charges appearing before the Ohio judicial system and learn a glossary definition of them. The Ohio Legislature indicates the Ohio Revised Code as a compilation of the general laws of the state of Ohio. The Revised Code is organized into 31 general titles broken into chapters dealing with individual topics of law. The chapters are divided into sections which contain the text of individual statutes. The laws are collected and published in the Ohio Revised Code, ORC or RC by its initials. Obviously, it is not possible in this short lesson to list all the crimes that someone could be charged with in the state of Ohio and that are heard in the Ohio courts. However, we will mention some of the most common charges as listed in the Quarterly Crime Reports for Major Ohio Cities 2016, fourth quarter, which is found in the website for the Office of Criminal Justice Services for the state of Ohio. A general definition is also provided using either the C&O Legal Glossary listing on the Ohio Supreme Court website, the Glossary of Commonly Used Court and Justice System Terminology from 2011 available on the National Center for State Courts website, or a reference is made to the Ohio Revised Code. The Ohio Rules of Court establish the rules of practice and procedure in the Ohio courts. When discussing criminal matters, one would use the rules of criminal procedure as well as the Ohio Revised Code, Title 29 primarily. Please remember that a consultation with an attorney authorized to practice law in the state of Ohio would be necessary if seeking legal advice or specific legal information. Most common criminal charges. Please remember that interpreters need to be familiar with any and all of the variations of these terms in their working languages. Because the criminal offense can either be a felony or a misdemeanor, we will start with some common felony offenses. Assault. Any willful attempt or threat to inflict injury upon the person of another when coupled with the present ability to do so and any intentional display of force, such as would give victim reason for fear or expect immediate bodily harm. For a comprehensive definition and the various types of assault in Ohio, see Chapter 2903 of the Ohio Revised Code. Sex offenses is the name of the broader category of offenses ranging from indecent exposure to sexual assault and rape. Chapter 2907 of the Ohio Revised Code has the complete listing. Rape. The unlawful intercourse with an individual without their consent. However, for a more comprehensive definition, please see Chapter 2907, Period 02 of the Ohio Revised Code. Generally speaking, homicide is the unlawful killing of one human being by another. A more comprehensive definition can be found on Chapter 2903 of the Ohio Revised Code. Robbery. The act of taking money, personal property, or any other article of value that is in the possession of another done by means of force or fear. A more comprehensive definition can be found in Chapter 2911 of the Ohio Revised Code. Larceny, stealing or theft. Theft, the act of stealing or the taking of property without the owner's consent. A more comprehensive definition can be found in Chapters 2911 and 2913 of the Ohio Revised Code. Burglary, the act of entering or remaining illegally in a movable or immovable structure, vehicle, or dwelling with the intent to commit a felony. A more comprehensive definition can be found on Chapter 2911 of the Ohio Revised Code. As you can see, each term can be a lesson in itself. Since our lesson time is limited, here is a listing of common misdemeanor offenses: assault, disorderly conduct, alcohol-related offenses, petty theft, prostitution, trespassing, drug possession, or drug abuse. If you are wondering why assault is showing up again, please remember there are different kinds of assault as well as varying degrees of offenses. As an additional individual activity, please research for the general definition, check to see if the meaning changes when it is a felony versus a misdemeanor, and identify the source where you found the term. Finally, add these into your working languages glossary by researching for the translations of each. In Lesson 5, the key points to remember are that the Ohio Revised Code and the Rules of Criminal Procedure provide the guidelines for criminal matters, as well as define what the cases are called and where these cases are heard in the Ohio courts. While every case is unique, there are plenty of common criminal charges, felonies and misdemeanors, that are heard in the Ohio courts. In some instances, the names may be the same, but the severity of the offense and the penalties can be different. Individual activity. Complete the exercise, identify a definition for the list of criminal offenses and, if possible, where these are located in the Ohio Revised Code.